Hello, Mr. John Sudworth. My name. Oh, it's not worth it for me to give you my name. Just call me James, just for the sake of conversation. See the weather. It's quite good. It's early winter time in South Africa. Today turned out to be just like the most of the days in a year. It's a beautiful day. So I'm in pretty good mood. Have my early morning coffee. So before I start my busy schedule today, I think I would like to take this few minutes to have a few words with you, Mr. John Sudworth. Oh, by the way, just to my followers, to my audience who are watching this video, let me have a just one sentence introduction of who is this John Sudworth. He is, or maybe worse, the BBC appointed chief reporter stationed or supposedly stationed in Beijing. That's who John Sudworth is. John, you have shot to stardom recently. Not only in the English-speaking world, in the international stage, but most importantly, you have become so famous, or shall I say, infamous, because infamous is more proper, within the Chinese community, inside and outside China. You know why? Not because you are doing your job as a news reporter, but because you are not reporting the news. You are not doing the job as a reporter. You are doing the job as a news manufacturer. You're manufacturing news. Later on, I'll put a link below my video so all the audience and my followers can see what kind of news you manufactured. But anyway, I still have to give a little bit background about your infamous shooting to the stardom. In 2017, there was a CCTV, it's called China Central Television something. They made a 7-minute news report about the poverty alleviation project that was carried on in the field in Xinjiang province. In that 7-minute news clip, it was talking about the the workers, the government workers, or the government employees, or local officials went into countryside, tried to persuade, tried to teach the local Uyghur people to open their eyes and open their hearts to the world, so that they can, with the government help, they can uplift themselves out of poverty by sending their kids to the other parts of the more developed regions of China to get employment. But remember, employment in the other part of China, the competition at that time was fierce. Even though the unemployment rate in China in general was very low, or has been very low. Let's just say around about anyway between 3 to 5% plus minus. So if as the majority of the Chinese population, if you have to find a job, you find a job yourself. And you have sometimes if you want to get a very good job or easy job to do, you have to apply for it. You have to compete with the other applicants in order to get that job. But because it's a minority region and because it's a poverty alleviation program, the Chinese government sent out their officials, sent out their workers, sent out their government employees, sent out their teams. Those teams are charged for doing the field job of this poverty alleviation project. So they took upon themselves to find a job for the Uyghur people. But of course, to persuade some nation or tribes that to do something that is go against their tradition, it always slow and difficult and taking a lot of doings to achieve this goal. But the goal is to kill the poverty, to make people living better today than yesterday and living better tomorrow than today. That was the 7-minute news clip. And you, Mr. John Sudworth, you took a few pictures, screenshots actually, and less than 30 seconds, yeah, maybe plus minus 30 seconds of the portions out of the 7-minute news clips made a 2.5-minute news clip for BBC. And you took advantage of the Chinese people don't understand much of English, and the English people don't understand Chinese, let alone Uyghur language. So you took advantage of this. You twist, you misrepresent, you manipulate, you make the Chinese government look so bloody evil. Essentially, it was a poverty alleviation project, and you turn it around or upside down to become a proof or evidence of forced labor. That's why this kind of news manufacturing ability of yours, I have to say, you're really talented. And that makes you so famous or infamous. That's also one of the reasons, after all this come to a kind of a geopolitical struggle between China and American-led Western society or Western kind of allies, and backlash, blowback in your face. That's why you escaped. But there was a personal reason why you escaped. I knew it for fact. Because of the Xinjiang genocide and forced labor issues that go around in that American allied circles. So it affected, or starting to affect, the livelihood of those Uyghur people in Xinjiang. Because BCI, the Better Cotton Initiative, this is rubbish, so-called NGO, so-called kind of trendsetting or standard holding kind of institution. Actually, this BCI got money from US aid. That is American government money. And you and Adrian Zenz have been supplying them with the false bullets, with the false claims that to back their claim that Xinjiang has got genocide and Xinjiang has got forced labor. So the do no evil Western company has to boycott Xinjiang cotton. And that affects actually the Xinjiang Uyghur people's livelihood, because many of them are working in the cotton manufacturing industry, and some of them even own those factories. So now, so far as I know, quite a group of those companies and factories that have been affected by your slander, by your rumor, by your lies. And plus some individuals decided enough is enough. So they lodged a lawsuit against you in China, because they want to send you into the court, and they want to see your ass in court. Then you escaped. Huh? No, actually, no other word is better to describe your action moving from China unceremoniously without going through the proper procedure. From mainland China, you ran away to Taiwan. I cannot using escape, I cannot using flee, this kind of word, because if I use these two words, it's probably in some other people's understanding, they implies that you facing danger, as BBC claimed, and you face threats from the Chinese government. But no, you face no danger, you face no threats from the Chinese government. You run away because you are not a person to take responsibilities. As a reporter, we all know there's one unspoken rules or standard of reporting which says, no, I was in university and on the sideline when our teacher taught us philosophy, and they sometimes also joked with us. And I remember one day the philosopher in the class just jokingly told us, in Western society, especially in the media kind of circle, reporting a dog biting a man is not news, but reporting a man biting a dog, that's news. So which means the more sensational, the more bad of the situation in China. If there's a genocide, there's really a forced labor, this kind of shit hitting the fans in China, the better for reporters like you, or for reporters in the West in general. So why you want to escape? Oh, sorry, why you want to run away? Aren't you supposed to be in China doing your job, reporting the truth, facts to the whole wide world? So you don't have to personally doing anything to manufacture the news. You're just reporting the news to the world, and then everybody will hate Chinese and Chinese government for good reason. Why you run away? I'm sure you know in your reporter circle, there are a bunch of very brave men and brave women. They are called war zone reporters. They went to Iraq, they went to Syria, they went to Middle East, they went to northern part of Africa, like Libya and those places, and Somalia, those kind of places. They're reporting the wars on the ground. And you used to stay in one of the safest countries in the world, which is China. That you don't have to worry. You walk 3 o'clock in the morning in the streets and getting robbed. Huh? You don't have to walking with your head turning backwards all the time just to see if anybody following you. You used to live in such a safe environment. China is not a war zone, right? And even so-called Xinjiang genocide, that is supposed to be against the Uyghur people, not you. So why don't you just learn from your war zone reporter peers? Stays in China, stay in the ground, and reporting all the evil doings of the Chinese government and of the Chinese people to the world, so that let everybody see personally how brave you are. You'll become even more famous, at least in the West. And then at the same time, you disclose all the crimes against the humanity, all the crimes against the Uyghur people, so that it's doing something meaningful to save the world, or at least to save the Uyghur people. Why not? But instead, you run away from China. In a way, where did you run? You run to Taiwan, I guess. If Hong Kong today is still like it was yesterday, like 2019, you probably would have gone to Hong Kong, because that's where you could slander the mainland China without any concern. Because in Hong Kong, today, United States and Great Britain still got their largest numbers of working people in their consulates in Hong Kong. You know why? Because Hong Kong, yesterday's Hong Kong, it was the concentration of spies from the United States, from Great Britain, from the Five Eyes nations. You would have got a lot of support from them. You would have been living a wonderful, care not even a damn kind of life in Hong Kong, and still doing all your truth finding and reporting job as a BBC reporter. But no, today's Hong Kong, the society is calm. The society is in good order. The rioters and their backers are facing the law. So that's why you escape to Taiwan, because Taiwan today is the last district, last region in China that is still not under the government of People's Republic of China's control. So you, in my eyes, John Sudworth, you are a coward. You are not up to scratch. And now, at the very moment when I heard the news came out that you have escaped to Taiwan, I thought to myself, okay, as a brilliant talent, as a talented newsmaking reporter, that you escaped from mainland China to Taiwan, it was bound to have some consequences, such as someday in the future, either yourself or BBC will come out and says, John Sudworth escaped from mainland China because of the strait and because of the pressure, unfair pressure from the Chinese government makes your life impossible, makes your doing your job also impossible. That's why you're running for your life. I thought about this. Voila. It seems to be everybody knows your trick. Everybody knows about BBC's trick. Because this morning, just moments ago, I flipped through the news on the internet. Then all of a sudden I saw this coming out. BBC put on a statement. John Sudworth escaped from Chinese government because of the threat, because of the unfair pressure, because the Chinese government has done so many things, make your life so impossible and make your job so impossible. That's why he escaped to Taiwan. You think what? You know what? This was already in my head before I saw this piece of news because I knew what you guys are going to do. So now, even ordinary people like me, we can see through you. You are transparent to us. You are not mysterious. You are a skeleton exposed in the broad daylight. So, John Sudworth, why? Why? You know, when did I start learning English? I started to learn English, I think I was in primary school. That was at the time China was just about, to turn a new page in the history. In the whole China environment at that time, I probably was the first few. And my school that I attended to, also amongst the first few, started to teach English to the Chinese people. Because after the establishment of the People's Republic of China, in the 50s, 60s, Russian was the language that my parents learned and used and communicate internationally. Starting from my generation, we opened the door to the Western world. The education you've been through, I think It was more or less the same, comparable to the education I went through. Probably I learned more than you, because at least I learned the moral standard in China as well as in your own country, in the Western world. It's more or less the same. You know why? Because we are all human beings. It can be every human being has such a high moral background, and only producing one scanner like you has got no moral standard at all. It can't be. So there must be something going wrong, very wrong, in the way you're brought up. In the way you were brought up, or in the way you were molded into such a person, characteristics, or the funny way of thinking. There must be something going wrong with you and with your nation. I mean, Anglo-Saxon nation. The nation that's produced English language as one of the most well-known language in the world and the most well-used language commercially as well as educationally used in the world. But something wrong with you guys. You know what? The Five Eyes nations are, generally speaking, or on essence, are Anglo-Saxon nations. You guys use your military power, political influence, of course not today anymore, in the past. You conquer the world. You spread your language, the Queen's language, to every corner of the world. That's why I can speak English. But I'm not proud of it. I'm not proud of my ability of speaking English, because there are traits in speaking this kind of language, this English language. It's called hypocrisy. At one stage, as a youngster in China, we were all fascinated by the gentlemanly behavior of your English people. Oh, maybe not English people, that's just taking too wide kind of range against the people like you. You know, you are minority. You are extreme minority even with your own country. So the politicians, the reporters, the opinion leaders, you are a small bunch of scanners. But unfortunately, you guys has got a platform. You guys has got the channels to speak out to the world, not only to your own people. So your gentleman kind of manner is just a fabric of your hypocrisy. You have no moral standards. All your moral standards is not up to scratch. If you want to be a hero, you must walk the walk and talk the talk. You must stay in China. You must not run away. You must take up the legal lawsuit against you in the court. No matter you win or lose in the lawsuit, at least you make yourself a martyr. A bad example maybe to our Chinese communities, but you make yourself look like a hero in the Western world. Why you don't want to take up this wonderful, once in a blue moon opportunity to do this, to make yourself a hero. Because you know, even in your Western world, when the dust settles down, you will not be regarded as a hero. You will be regarded as a scanner. Because nowadays, how many people have known through all different information platforms, news platforms, that the original news clips that you stolen from CCTV, you made up those Xinjiang genocide, you make up those Xinjiang forced labor, are so outrageous, are so low. Trust me, it's already below morality. It's breaching the law. So, Mr. Sudworth, my advice to you is change your job. Quit your profession as a reporter because you are in a wrong profession. You should be a politician. No, Western politician, sorry. Because in the East, especially in the Confucius sphere kind of environment, politics are not as dirty as in the West. So you, my friend, John Sudworth, you are in a wrong profession. You should be a politician, not a reporter. Oh, by the way, I dare you to stay in Taiwan for longer than 5 years. Because from my humble personal point of view, and from my judgment, within 3 to 5 years, Taiwan will be reunited with mainland China. And by then, when that happens, you will run away again, second time round. And that time, I can use the word escape or flee. Because when you unite Taiwan, you are really going to face the threat of your life. Because people like you in Taiwan, like many other, that's the so-called Democratic Party or something, today is governing Taiwan. They are pushing for independence of Taiwan, and you guys will be regarded as the public enemies to the Chinese people. So, Mr. John Sudworth, second advice to you, go back to Great Britain. Even though the coronavirus situation there is horrible, you also run a risk of getting the disease, getting the sickness. But still, there's no political threats. There's no political danger to you, and use your status as the anti-communist, anti-Chinese, and human rights protector kind of status. That's out of this news manufacturing abilities and reporting this kind of shit things that you associate yourself with. Getting a job in the British Parliament. Make yourself a politician. And then I shall see you in the news for the better, for the worse, more often. Goodbye, John. Stay in Taiwan, safe. recently, oh no, not recently, just this morning I saw there was a, how to say, train crash. So be careful. When you take transportation, especially public transportation in Taiwan, be careful. Train crash just happened. But of course, I just hope no people gets hurt, especially no, not you. Bye. Enjoy. You will have a very good life in the future.